Hi, everybody. I'm John Self. Welcome this afternoon to Office Hours. I'm glad to have you with us. This has been a crazy week. We've had tons of technical issues and learning new equipment. And so we're pleased that you stayed with us, and we hope that you'll appreciate this session today. We're going to be focusing on ageism and how that really impacts workers, and it has forced more people into reluctant retirement. We're also going to use this opportunity. We're going to give you some facts and figures and talk about it a little bit, but also preview a new course that we're offering on the ageism side, and it is up and available now. And so we will be adding more content to it. We're in the process of producing several videos regarding your health and weight loss issues. That is a big problem, and a lot of people say, we can't discriminate against people because of their weight or their age, and it happens every day of every week, and it's very difficult to prove. And employers are pretty smart about that. So we want to get started today and work you through this presentation. I think that our theme here is, if you want to extend your career, you have to be aware of what the ageism issues are, and you have to be super prepared to offset that. If you're going into a search and there are 20 or 30 or 40 or 50, and that's not uncommon, sometimes 50 to 100 people. And a lot of those are average age around 40 to 45 or 50, and you're late 50s or early 60s. You can expect that there's going to be some element of discrimination unless the organization is pristine in how they manage their HR function, and most are not. So their recruiters have had biases since the beginning of time. And this is one area where it's very prevalent, and it really does affect people's careers. So before we get started, let me just briefly tell you about myself. If you're not a follower of Guiding Your Career at johngself.com, I have been in the executive search business, or I was in the executive search business for 27 years. And I enjoyed it. I loved it. I enjoyed the search. I enjoyed the talent challenge. I enjoyed building a track record that a lot of other recruiters would be envious of. In 27 years, I never had a mishire on the CEO search. I worked across the U.S. I also worked in 6 countries on 4 continents. So in 2018, I finally decided, I've been on one too many airplanes. And so my goal now is not to get on another domestic U.S. flight. I've been traveling for about 42 years. Over my time in recruiting, I've interviewed about 9,000 executives and managers. And again, it was across the U.S. I worked in Hawaii. I also worked in Alaska. Worked in the Middle East, the Philippines, Canada, and Australia, and South Africa. I have taught the interviewing course for a global professional association for 10 years before I had a little health issue in 2022 and decided that I was not going to, do all of that freebie work anymore. And I've kind of a sideline. In 42 years, I've navigated successfully 4 career changes. And a lot of people call us and say, "Hey, can you help me with a career change?" And the answer is yes, because I've done it enough and I haven't stumbled yet. So that's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. Okay. I hope you'll see that, I do know a lot about this stuff, but I try to help people in a relaxed sort of way. And if you work with me, I'm somebody who's going to challenge you. I'm not going to let you flim-flam around and try to come up with excuses. I will push you to get out of your comfort zone, because if you don't get out of your comfort zone, especially if you're an older executive, you will find yourself pushed to the sidelines. Okay? So, we can help people in the older age. It's rampant. This is absolutely rampant. When I was doing recruiting, I always tried to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But I'll tell you this, that people discriminate on a regular basis based on age, weight, appearance. It happens all the time. Less so now about race, because that's been such a hot issue, and because I think people have opened their eyes. But somebody comes in who's overweight, significantly overweight, or is older person and a little bit sluggish, you can bet the barn they're going to be discriminated against. And this is late baby boomers, Generation X people. These are strong, strong headwinds, not only the biases, but the market conditions. I mean, it's so crowded out there, and companies really aren't hiring that many executive and manager positions. And it's probably not going to change too much. Everybody thought that when President Trump was nominated or elected and then inaugurated, that the market would ease up. But I got news for you. With all the indecision about the tariffs, with all the indecisions regarding government spending, everybody, a lot of the corporations are waiting to see how the regulatory process is going to play out because they're just not sure. And even if we started hiring at a blistering rate today, it would take almost a year to take up all or to absorb all the excess inventory of executives and managers. So if you think that because we've had a change in Washington, that things are suddenly going to get better for you, don't take your foot off the gas. Whatever you've been doing to hustle, 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 to work the market really aggressively, don't stop doing that just because we've had a change in presidents. That's not automatically going to change the marketplace. Today, the Fed also decided not to lower the interest rates anymore, so that'll create some political disharmony. And, political disharmony, political statements, regulations, threats of tariffs, those are all things that are destabilizing to the economy. So every president has their own style, and they try to accomplish things different ways. Some of them are business friendly, but sometimes some of the things they do aren't so good for the job market. So you just have to be patient. That doesn't mean you stop looking. That means you just turn on the gas. You really step up the pace, because if you don't want to have to wait around until the market suddenly decides that everything is going to work out. So we're really focusing, about extending your career. And to do that, you really have to really battle ageism. You have to take it on, the bull by the horns, and you have to understand what are people going to think about you or say about you. And I will tell you that, if you think that you're behind the eight ball because you're 55 or 60 years old, I would argue that you absolutely can bring value to a company, and we'll show you how to do that. We'll help you identify and crystallize your value that you bring to a company. All of this gray hair is translated into experience. It's translated into the ability to mentor younger colleagues, the ability to understand tricky political situations, because most of us have gone through a PASL. Now, but we're dealing with a pretty widespread problem. Every year, 19,200 claims are filed with people who are between 65 and 80. 82% of the adults experience age discrimination every day. Now, not all of that is in the workplace, but it's very, very common. So let's look at some more numbers. Currently, there are 57 million Americans over the age of 65, and a lot of those people are still in the workplace. Now, the Federal Age Discrimination Act sets the minimum age at 40 years old. And I've looked at some of my earlier stuff, and we had 45, and I've clarified that it is 40 years old. So once you pass 40 and you're discriminated against, and if you feel it's your age, you qualify for relief under the law, assuming you can prove it. Okay, so victims of ageism also suffer health issues, including chronic depression and heart conditions, just a lot of other maladies that visit them because they're depressed, because they're being discriminated against, and that really affects people, particularly those of us who define who we are by our work. And if you can't get a job, and that is so important to you, and that's always been part of your life, then that will affect your mental outlook and your physical health. Ageism, it's easy to commit, but it's hard to litigate the complaints. So you can't rely, the law's there to protect you, but you can't rely on the law. You have to take this and you have to decide, I'm going to beat this. I'm going to do what I need to take, whether it's my appearance, whether it's strengthening my brand, strengthening my focus on my value, improving my interviewing skills, updating my resume, but I'm not going to sit back. Now, if you haven't been in the job market in a long time and suddenly you find yourself sitting on the curb because somebody decided to do a layoff in order to improve the chances for their executive bonuses, you need to find out what's going on. We'll be happy to give you, a free free 30-minute call and let you ask all the questions you want to ask about what's going on in the market. Because if you haven't been in the market in the last 5 years, even in the last 3 years, it has changed mightily. And you don't want to waste time by going into the market insisting that you do things the way you've always done them, because it will be a waste of your time. So today, we're trying to help people, and we've got a couple of clients that we're working with now. The secret to success against ageism, it's not that secret. You have to be physically and emotionally fit. Now, everybody says, well, I can't lose weight. Yeah, you can. Okay. Yes, you can. You have to be now. There's a small percentage of people that have physical diseases that make it very difficult, or they're on medication that make it very difficult. But either whether you use one of the dietary drugs to help you lose weight, that's kind of a risk, because once you stop taking it, you'll gain most of the weight back unless you've already established different patterns in your dietary habits. But you have to be physically and emotionally fit. If you come in and you can't button your shirt because you've gained weight and your neck's you've gained a lot in your neck area, and you've got a Windsor knot and you're trying to hold the shirt together with that knot, and it's a silk tie and it's slipping loose, that doesn't look professional. And if you're going into, and if it's a casual interviewing situation and you've got a pair of khakis on and a golf shirt, if that golf shirt doesn't fit you well, you're going to look bad and you're not going to look professional. Even if you put a sport coat on top of that, if the coat is too tight, you can't button it, that's going to look bad. So physical and emotional fitness, emotional health are really, really important. You can complain and say it's not fair. I understand. Before I had heart surgery, I weighed 273 pounds. I lost a couple of searches. Both times, it was physicians on the board that said, you don't look very good. And both times, I had sciatica and another issue, but I didn't even know at that point that I had, serious cardiac issues. I never had a heart attack, but I did have to have a single bypass because of a calcium buildup in one of the key arteries. And I'm perfectly fine today. And I'm, I lost a lot of weight, and then they put me on medication. I gained it back, and I'm going back the other way. So I'll tell you, it takes a while to do this. So don't wait till you're 58 years old and decide you got to lose the weight if you want to keep working. It's going to be really tough. So if you're 40 years old and you're kind of sedentary and you kind of got a chicken fried steak and cream gravy, French fries diet, or you're putting away 2 or 3 beers a night or a couple of martinis a night, I used to do that, you're going to gain weight, and it's going to be hard to get off. So you need to start thinking about staying physically fit if it's going to be important to you personally or financially to extend your career. A lot of people are really finding that with the prices of food and the recent inflation that has not really, may come roaring back depending on what happens on a regulation basis, you may have to extend your work life. And you don't want to hit a brick wall because you haven't taken care of yourself. So one of the things you have to do, other than take care of yourself physically, is you have to be very disciplined about understanding your value and creating a written plan around that proposition. So if you're going to go to the market, you're going to be facing a lot younger people. You've got to have a strong value proposition and a strong brand. Why is the brand important? Because more and more of the big health systems, the big corporations, are doing a lot of their executive recruiting internally now, and they're using LinkedIn and other high-speed scanners to go through LinkedIn profiles to decide who they want to bring in for interviews. They're not just opening it up and saying, "Hey, everybody apply," because they get a really bad return. They get so many people who aren't qualified and not enough people who are qualified. So now a lot of the good positions are not even being posted. And if you do see some good positions, you need, and it's on an independent job board, you need to go look at that organization's website to validate that that's a real job and not a phantom. You want to be sure that beside having that strong brand, you want to be sure that your brand shows that you're up to date on regulatory key issues, anything that's important in your industry. And absolutely, you have to stay focused on those technology issues. Some younger recruiters, if they think you're not really with it, they're trying to get you out of the search, may ask you about 2 or 3 new programs. And if you'd have to say, I don't know 2 or 3 times, you're just probably opened the door and took yourself out of the search. There are methods for you to stay current on those technology issues. There's newsletters that you can do that, and you have to watch the news. And there's been a lot of technology news on the airways the past couple of days with DeepSeek, and that's really kind of roiled the markets around automation and AI. So you need to understand that if you were interviewing and somebody said, "Do you know what DeepSeek is?" and you don't know, that tells them that you're not watching the evening news and you're not paying any attention to public affairs. Don't find yourself in that position, because you're going to give somebody a reason to get rid of you, and that's the last thing you want to do. You also have to excel in networking more than ever before. If you don't have a good network, you're not going to know about the best jobs that are available in the marketplace. Most of those jobs are filled based on referral, not network, not posting on a job board. If you're a mid-level person, if you're an hourly person, yeah, you can apply online and probably get a job. But if you're a senior executive or a mid-level executive, that's not going to work anymore. You're going to have a network, and you're going to have to be good at networking, good at branding, and good at interviewing. And good is not going to be good enough. You're going to have to be really great at interviewing, because companies have so many options now. When they hire, they can be really selective. So you absolutely have to focus on communicating your value. And so you have to elevate those job search skills, and we've got a new course out on that already. Now let's talk about our new course. It's called How to Elevate Your Career Despite Rampant Ageism. And this is, I think, we've already got one part of that. It's online, but we will also be providing weekly coaching sessions. And so it's a 6-month plan. And even if we move it along rapidly, because you've got some opportunities in the pipeline, we've set it up to pay it out over 6 months at $204 a month. Total cost of the course is $1,225. That includes the online stuff, as well as weekly hour-long sessions with me and coaching sessions. And then you also have, you can join our membership program and get other benefits to complement that. If you want to make a one-time payment, it's $996. And people say, wow, that's a lot of money. Well, it's a lot of time. And really, when you're spending an hour a week with somebody for 6 weeks, for 6 weeks or 180 days, 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 months, 180 days. And we say it's 180 days because right now, you know how long it takes an executive or manager to find an appropriate advancement? Between 8 and 14 months. So that's why we've used that 6-month trigger. So, we'll be there with you, and we'll stay with you until you place. You may finish paying, we may finish the curriculum, but we can still talk weekly, or take a 30-minute session twice a month, 3 times a month, whatever you need, to go over issues that you're dealing with. It's really tough to battle ageism. And so what you have to do is you have to be better than everybody else at the table. You can't be average. You can't even be good. You've got to be great to be able to show them that you can stand out and do the work. And you have to understand how to sell your experience, how to sell all of the trials and tribulations. It's worth something. That's part of your equity. So I hope that you'll give that some consideration. We also have a program that's designed for people who may have multiple needs, not only just ageism. You say, gee, John, I want to deal with the ageism, but I need a lot more help on interviewing, or I need a lot more help on figuring out how to do my branding or how to do networking. And so we have a membership course. And if you become a member between now and the end of January, we waive the $250 enrollment fee. This program gives you $79 a month, no contract. You get 2 weekly live coaching sessions. Now, normally this would have been a little bit different, a full coaching session, but since we're rolling out this program, we wanted to take an opportunity for that. Yesterday, we spent an hour talking about how to anticipate interview questions. And if you're a member, you would have access to that on a weekly basis. Probably at some time in February, this particular stream is live today across all platforms, but this and Lunch and Learn will be members only once our membership climbs. And so in order to get access to these twice weekly coaching sessions, at some point you'll have to become a member. In addition to the coaching sessions, you will have access to all of our online content. And that means that you can go back and refresh. You can look at stuff online, and we're beginning a process now of updating everything. So you're getting a lot of value for $79 a month. We give you, then if you say, I want a premium course, I want to take your master class in interviewing. Well, that's about a $1,450 program. But if you're a member, you get a 40% discount. And again, you get 5 30-minute check-in calls each month, and you get a subscription to our daily career newsletter. So then we're trying to add a lot of value. We're trying to make it a lot easier for people to manage their career. If you don't, managing your career is not just looking for a job. Just turning on the job search when you need it is not going to work anymore. You need to be able to ensure that you have a visible brand, and you can't turn it off and on, because you're now dealing less with people and more with computers. So that's the significance of that. I want to thank you guys today for your time. Let me see if we have had any chats in the box. Nope, not today. Appreciate your being with us today. If you see this on a replay and you have questions, you can email me at john@johngself.com. If you want to talk about our membership program, which is your career community, you can also do that. If you would like to speak with me personally, you can go to our webpage. At the bottom of the page, in the footer, there's a little icon that says Talk to John, and we're happy to spend time with you and answer your questions. We don't do a lot of barraging, cascading emails. I think people are getting frustrated with that. Their email boxes are full. We do some targeted emails, but not daily, and we don't do all this flash sale, this or that. We are here to meet your professional needs, and we want to act in a professional manner to be sure that you are comfortable the way you're being treated and comfortable the way you've been coached. And we don't want to make this a circus atmosphere. So, if you have questions, you can talk to me personally at johngself.com. Go to the bottom of the page, and you can set up a 30-minute block on a time that corresponds with our availability. And you can do it on Zoom, or you can do it on WhatsApp, or you can do it on a telephone. It's all up to you. I really appreciate your time today, and I hope to see you next week for Lunch and Learn. We'll be on tomorrow at noon in a public stream on Instagram. And then Thursday night, we're going to start, I think next week, back on TikTok. Well, it's still up in the air too. But once that's ratified, we'll probably get back on it. I'm not going to spend time over there and then have it have the carpet yanked out beneath us again. But we'll be on Instagram tomorrow at noon with Career Live. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a great evening and be safe.